I'd like you to get your theory book out. And we have a couple of ear type things that we could do in the D minor section of that, which I think I've assigned you doing the writing the scales. If I haven't, this would be a really good week to do that because we were working in the key of D minor. So we're on, in the theory book, we're on page 10. Push pause if you need to get your place in that book. And what I'd like to do first, I know that you understand how to do the writing out the scales. I don't think that will be a hard thing for you. Make sure that you follow the directions where it says shade in the flatted notes. It's trying to help you figure out that key signature. And then when you get to the harmonic, we need to also include the raised seventh. So I think you'll know what to do with that. If you don't, you can text me and I can answer your questions. But what I'd like to do, down at the bottom of page 10, there's a little ear, and it says D natural minor scale, D harmonic minor scale, D major arpeggio, and D minor arpeggio. Now I'm guessing, as long as we've worked together for a while now, you know the difference between an arpeggio and a scale. Oops. I was doing major at that point. So I'm going to do those out of order. And you could, do they have you mark something? Identify. All you have to do is identify. Well, I won't be able to hear you. But what you could do is I'm going to do them in like a 1, 2, 3, 4 order, so you could circle them, and then we could go over it in case you had some questions. So I'm going to mix them up a little bit. So, okay, so here's your first one. I'll do that one more time. So put a number 1 next to what you think that was. Was that the D natural minor scale, the D harmonic minor scale, the D major arpeggio, or the D minor arpeggio? And you should have a 1 next to the D minor arpeggio. That was the arpeggio that I started with. Here is your number 2. And I'll do it one more time. And that would be the D natural minor scale. Did you notice I didn't raise the C sharp? Okay, next. So number 2 should be next to D natural minor. And one more time. And that would be the D harmonic minor scale. I figure it's pretty easy for you to figure out what's a scale and what's an arpeggio. So number 3 should be next to D minor scale, and you probably could figure out what I'm going to do next. So can you hear the difference between the major and when I did the minor? Very good. Now let's turn the page. Let's go to page 13. I wanted to review the concept of motive and sequence, which we worked on some earlier in our book. Well, really, I think we introduced that idea. I think it was in this book. Remember, a motive is a musical thought or idea, and then what happens if you put it in sequence, you move that musical thought or idea either up a step or down a step. So let's take a look at the top there where it says eye training. Before we play anything, I want you to look and see, can you find a little musical motive, musical idea that looks like it's repeated again a step up? Probably you're smart enough to know we're not looking in the right hand, are we? Because it's just chords. But in the left hand, do you see that little 4/8 and a quarter? And then it goes in 4/8 and a quarter. So what you're going to do is you can just put a little, like a bracket over it, and write motive, kind of like that. And then we can use the same kind of bracket, and instead of writing motive, write sequence above it. So where do you see that that happens again? Well, the next measure. Let's turn the camera around here. So the next measure, it does it, right? So you see it starts on, it's in D minor, starts on D, and then it sequences up to E, and then it sequences up to F again. And here, because we're getting ready to end the song, it just, after the pattern, it goes into a cadential thing to finish the song. Now what they'd like you to do is they'd like you to try sight playing that slowly, moderately slowly speed. Because you've already done the eye work to see that you have an easy, it's just a stepwise motive, and that it's in sequence. Looks like your only fingering thing that would be a little out of the 5-finger position would be your 2. So, and the chords, if you look at this, what kind of chord is that? Let's get a little closer. That is in D minor, it's a 1 chord. In D minor, this is a 5/7 chord. And then another 5/7 to 1. See, there's your cadence there. So now I want you to push pause, and I want you to try to sight play that melody. And then when you've tried it once, go ahead and try to transpose it to A minor, and then turn the camera back on. Or the video, I should say. Okay. This second exercise I'm going to just let you do on your own. You answer the question though, does it look like it begins with a natural minor or harmonic minor, and you circle which one, and I'm guessing that you're pretty wise now to be able to notice if you key in on this one change right here, that should give you the correct answer. And so your ear would know what to look for or what to listen for, and then look for the moving. It's almost an exact scale, except they put a little bit of movement in here, and then just a little pattern at the end. So that shouldn't be hard for you to sight play. You may go ahead and push pause again and then try sight playing that one at a moderately so tempo. And then last but not least, we're going to go and I'm going to play these, you're going to hear some accompaniment patterns using 1, 4, or 5/7 in D minor. Listen and circle the last harmony that you hear. So it may be, like for instance this first one, this will be number 1, and we'll kind of talk about it just to make sure you know what you're doing. But here's number 1. Now, did that sound like we ended on the tonic? No. Your job is to figure out, does that sound like a 4 chord or a 5/7 chord? And then circle whichever one you think it is. So let me play it one more time. And you're going to circle 5/7. All right, so that was number 1. See how that works? Here's number 2. And again. So sometimes it helps to kind of see if you can, in your ear, mix those chords together when they're in a pattern like that. So hopefully you can tell this is not a 1 chord, and it doesn't sound like the 5/7 chord that we heard before. So hopefully you've already figured out it's a 4 chord. So number 2 is going to be 4. Here is number 3. That should be pretty easy. Here it is one more time. Number 9, or number 9, sorry. Number 3. That would be your 5/7. Number 4. Time. The last chord sound, and it is a 1 chord. Number, I think that was 5. I think I've done all except one of them. So this would be 6. Here we have it in an Alberti, so it might be a little bit more confusing, but again, you want to try to see if in your head you can mush these together in your ear, and this is the chord that you're ending on. chord. Good.